Done.
So, I don't know if you are aware of it. In the Modon, there is sheets of paper where you can put names, projects, like of people that you think need positive energy. And sometimes we read them out, but then also when the group is so big that we never finish. So also some people like to write a lot, what they're dedicating it for. It's called dedication list. Means that all the efforts that we do, one never does it just for oneself. You know, one thinks, like, for example, if you sit and meditate on love, compassion, or the disadvantage of anger and these things, then you actually think, this is my contribution to the peace and happiness of this world. So you kind of share whatever positive energy you are creating as we are sitting here together and as we are doing this. So everybody is very welcome to write as many names as you want and as many words as you want to use, because then afterwards tomorrow is the half moon day of the month, and then also the Tibetans always do something that is called a puja, like a ritual. And that's what we will do. You don't have to participate if you don't want to. If you want to participate, you're very welcome to. You will probably, if you've never done it, you will probably not understand anything. And I will also not explain, because that's not the right place to explain. Just think that you're somewhere in Ladakh or in Dharamsala, or you're going to a monastery and the monks are sitting there and chanting. Then also you're not going to ask them what is this all about. You just sit and you enjoy, and that's it. It's just when Westerners do it, then you think that you have to understand what they're doing. So most of it will be chanted in Tibetan. We have texts like phonetics, and then because that's very powerful practice, one says, then all this energy then one dedicates for these projects of people who are on the list. Yeah, so the list will go on the table here, where we will put things to eat, that we will eat once Yom Kippur is finished. We will bring up, and so that these, the energy gets, one shares all the energy that one creates. Okay, I just wanted to mention that. So in case you are interested in doing this. So
similar happens in the synagogues. The rabbi this
Perfect.
day blessing the...
Very good.
public.
Also in the church. It's good when things are similar. This whole thing about that everybody is suffering. Nobody wants to suffer. Everybody wants to have happiness. It's not exclusive to one religion. Luckily, there is no, nobody can claim, this is mine, you don't take it. So it's like, yeah, so it's good. So then you know the principle, and if you feel inspired by this, then you can definitely do that. Okay, so then again, spiritual practice, meditation and all that, it's quite, it's quite in at the moment, meditation and spiritual practices or whatever, but sometimes it takes on really funny, strange forms when you see it, because kind of the purpose is not there anymore, because the purpose of every spiritual practice should be not just my happiness, but the happiness of all beings. Otherwise it's just, again, some kind of self-centered thing. And the purpose of meditation, the English word meditation doesn't really mean anything. If you look at the Sanskrit word, it means bhavana, means practice. If you look at the Tibetan word, which means gom, it means making the mind familiar with something. None of these two says you have to stop thinking and you have to be happy and all this in your meditation. That is just what we think. Because maybe we have seen some outcomes of people who meditate a lot. And sometimes you see outcomes of meditators who are not very inspiring. Do you know any of those people? Doing a lot of spiritual practice, and then when they do something for somebody else, like, oh, no, I need to go and sit, for example. Who is going to wash the dishes? Oh, I haven't done my practice yet, I have to go and sit. Yeah, you know, so that's not very inspiring, but then you have some others, like, for example, the Dalai Lama, and other masters or just simple monks, nuns, or lay people also, it's just not exclusive to monks, were very inspiring. And then you might start to think, why are they like this? And then you start to question, and you start to see that they are using certain methods. But the point or the goal of what we call in English, what we call meditation, or the Hebrew has taken the word on board pretty much same, it's meditatio, is to get to know your inner world, how you function, and also then to see that what we, especially that one, something that we cling to as so real, what we call I, me, that it's not this essence that we have since the beginning and that we will have until the end and it stays the same, and is very exclusively just mine, that it doesn't exist. That there is an I, but it's a process. That I is changing all the time. There's a happy I, there's an unhappy I, there's a very courageous I, there's a cowardly I. It changes all the time. But we add something to there which is not there, which means that stability and that reality. And if you do not, with a quiet mind, if you do not question that and you go and search for it, you will keep believing this, like life after life after life after life. And what this I is doing, of course it's very concerned about itself, but sometimes it has absolutely no wisdom, especially when you are in depression. Do you know, yeah, I need to finish here because otherwise I forget. Oh, you can't hear. Okay, so then we have to turn it up a bit, or... Is it better now or still not? The thing is, when I have it very close, when I say poof, you know, it goes like, maybe. Okay? Good? All right. Thank you for complaining. It's good. But otherwise, if you have questions, then, because my memory is so bad, and I do this since I give talks, that I start here and then I go there, and a few years ago I was always able to come back, but now I lost this ability, and then I just go and don't know what I wanted to say. I always say something, but so I really question that I should do this, but what can I do? So anyway, so then please, when I talk, don't interrupt me with a question, but write it down, and then you can ask. This evening we have questions and answers. So about this thing, what it does, that feeling of I, me. There is an I, there's a conventional I, don't worry, you are somebody, okay? But you are not as separate and solid as you think you are. And it's this individual I, me, that is separating us from the world, and we don't see how dependent we are on others. Like, for example, if you close your nose and you bow, and then look, how long can you survive? How long?
2 minutes.
Who said 2 minutes? You sure? That's quite long, 2 minutes, I think. Yeah. But we all know a very short time. So why do we survive? In this case? I don't know.
Because we breathe.
Yeah, exactly. Because we breathe. Why can we breathe? Because oxygen is just there by itself, is it?
We let it in and out.
Huh?
We can let it in and out.
But that one that comes in...
Trees, plants.
Thank you. Without the trees, we cannot breathe anymore. So see, if you start to really understand how dependent we are on the tree, we don't need to tell people, please don't cut them. If we really understand, in order to eat, we need all these other beings who are doing the work so that we can eat, because we ourselves, we couldn't feed ourselves. Yeah. Even if you are a self-contained kind of just growing your own food, you need other people to help you. It's communities who can do that. An individual, it's incredibly difficult. Yeah. But then with the separation, it's just, yeah, well, you know, what is it, Margieli kind of attitude. Margieli, it's kind of due to me, I take it, it's here. Margieli. Yeah. Margieli, something like that. And we forget, we separate ourselves from others. And then this connectedness, as we said, which is really, really important for our happy survival, goes out of the window. And where does it come from? From a wrong view. That something in us seems to exist as an essence that does not change. Do you see what I mean? So if we do meditate, or if we do become more still and look at what we did this morning, you look at what is happening in your body, yeah? And then you start, when the mind starts to become more or less a little bit calm, you go and look for it, because it's like, when it's very agitated, I am angry, then this I is very strong. And that's the moment to go and look for it. Or if I'm telling you that you're an idiot also, for example, in front of everybody, you know, then also, how dare she tell me that I'm an idiot? There's plenty of idiots in the world, why not you? What makes us feel so exclusive that we think we're not idiots? We're total idiots sometimes, the way that we behave. Yeah? We have so much intelligence, and sometimes we're so stupid, really stupid, the way we destroy the environment just for our comfort. It doesn't even give us what we want. We want happiness. Comfort doesn't give you happiness. If it would, we would all be like all over the hill with happiness. Yeah? So like this kind of wisdom that one wants to develop, this kind of wisdom that what makes me happy and others also. Yeah? So this is quite a profound thing, that this I seems to exist, but it doesn't really exist from its own side. So this you have to listen to quite a few teachings until you start to understand what is not existing. Yeah? To understand what is being refuted. A conventional I is not being refuted, but something unchanging. Something that is always there, something independent. Because this I also seems to exist from its own side, not needing anything else. Forget about body and mind that it needs, but it also needs other. Without other, there is no I. And have you ever thought about this, that each of you, me also included, I am the only one who calls myself I. For everybody else, I'm you. And I make such a big fuss about myself. And everybody does it. And we know this I also creates all these fears. Will people see me? Will they notice me? Will they give me what I need? Or will they hurt me? Will I have the bed that I want? Will I be with the right people in the room? Come on, it's 2 nights, or for most of you, 1. You know, and we can worry the whole way up if you have seen maybe the registration list, and you say, oh wow, not this one, you know. And it can totally spoil your journey. I don't know if you've ever done it. No? You're never worried about being in the room with somebody that you... Do you see the registration list? Yeah, then how can you worry if you don't? You know, it's like, of course, if it's not there, then it's okay. But it could, especially if it's a longer retreat, like 3 months or something like that. You definitely, you know, these kind of things, the worries, the kind of always being in the future and trying to control also, trying to make the world the way you want it to be. Yeah, like when we came yesterday, Shoshana is not here because she went to the hospital with somebody. When we came yesterday, we were sure that it would last 2.5 hours, huh? When we started in Tel Aviv. And it took 5.5 hours. And then we had one cock. So then we thought, that's it, you know, now from then on it will go quite smoothly, and then soon enough, somewhere where there's never a cock. You know, Susanna went, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. And then finally we got stopped by the police, which was really funny. They pulled us out, we got stopped, and then they didn't pay any attention to us. They did not even ask us our names. I don't know why they I saw there were 3 old women, and I thought, well, I think we can let them go. So this kind of I that has these strange ideas that for me, of course, the road should be free. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. And then also this one, because it doesn't change, when somebody's nasty to you, and this goes for tomorrow for the forgiving, when somebody's not nice to you, or upsets you or hurts you, that this I is clinging to this thing, not seeing that I have changed, the other person has changed. So here we have it very quickly. Oh, come on, let go, it's finished. But then the letting go, I tell you, is hard work. Yeah? It's hard work. And the more self-centeredness comes in, the more separation, the less it flows. This is what it is. The less we see that we're all the same. We look different, okay? Some have white skin, some have dark skin, some are yellow, some are whatever, some are female, some are male, some white. And then we make all these divisions. But actually, deep down, we're all the same. We all don't have what we actually want. And even though we have all this technology, we still don't have what we want. And then living in an area like this, I said I wouldn't bring in politics for now too, sorry. But even living in an area like this, I'm pretty sure you're all convinced deep down, maybe not here, but like, again, an instinct, if finally there would be peace, and the Palestinians would leave us alone, and we leave them alone, and we're like good neighbors like in Europe with, Germany and France, who had wars with each other for I don't know how many, 30 years at one point because of religion. What was it? 16th century or something. So, but you're pretty convinced that if the situation would be peaceful, you'd be happier, wouldn't you? I tell you, it wouldn't last long. Then your neighbor would get on your nerves, like the one who lives next door. Because you see, there is this ego-centered mind always finds something to nag about. And so when the problem is very big, the smaller problems, they're not, you're not nagging about them. But when then these bigger problems are getting solved, then the smaller problems come up. Like, for example, if you're bitten by a mosquito, just that, it hurts. 2 minutes later, you break your leg, you're not worried about your mosquito bite anymore. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So if you really want to solve all your problems, just find yourself a bigger one, and then that's it. The smaller ones are done. I mean, this is how it is. And I notice it here because I come once a year. And there's some people who see me privately every year. And there's some people who really have a different problem every year. The same person, different problem every year. And every year it's a very big problem. And then sometimes I ask, what about the last year? Oh, that's okay. The situation is still the same. But this one who came along is bigger. So this clinging and this grasping to this me or to this I as the center of the universe, this is what is creating the problem. Yeah? Because we're not seeing, one thing is how similar we are, or how we are all the same, and we're not seeing how dependent we are on others, because being similar, that is okay, I don't need to do that much. But when I see how dependent I am on others, then slowly I start to understand, hey, better also kind of try to repay that kindness. Yeah? And then we start to live our potential and our nature of openness and spaciousness, because that's what everybody has. So there's a school in California where the kids learn the namaste attitude. So they do greet each other like this, and they call it like this, and they call it the namaste attitude. How many of you have been to India? Many. So you all know the word namaste. Yeah? So what it actually means, it means I see my own potential to be a good person, and I'm seeing yours. That's what it means. That's what this gesture, this is why it goes here. That's what the gesture means. So the kids learn that, and not just gesture and words, but also kind of, I'm seeing the sameness in you, and also I honor my own potential to be a good person and yours as well. So it's a very nice way of approaching people. Then we have, of course, we have opinions. Like people, there are some people who by nature are bad. Well, if you have that opinion, you will never see their goodness. That's the problem. Whereas if you have some faith, and I know here is faith, if you have some faith that there's something good in everybody, then you maybe give it a chance to see, for you to see it and for you to come up, and then you are more relaxed. Because every time, again, mirror neurons, every time we see the goodness in somebody else, when it's a neutral person, we're happy, we're relaxed. Every time you see some violence or some aggression, even if we don't know the person, we are also then in contact with our negative sides, and we kind of close up. Yeah. So this is, I think it would be quite beneficial if we start to believe in this, that the goodness can be found in everybody if we give them the conditions and the opportunity. It might, then of course we want it to happen now, because I'm kind to them, so please you be kind to me now. Yeah, like somebody I talked not so long ago, she said, I'm not angry, but I'm hurt. I said, yeah, that's a form of anger, okay? No, I'm not angry. I said, okay. And she said, because I trusted them so much. So I said, then your trust is kind of a business deal, isn't it? Kind of, I trust you, so therefore you're not allowed to cheat me. That's business. But it's not, what is hurt? When somebody you trust, and then they cheat you, what is hurt? Or what hurts? And why? Because you're so arrogant, thinking that every cheating you should be able to prevent. You should be able to see it. You feel stupid. That's why. That's what hurts. That you didn't notice it, that you didn't see it, that you let it happen. And also your non-ability to be able to do something about this. And that really sits, this kind of thing. Oh gosh, how could they do this to me? If you look, that's what it is. But it happens to everybody, So you can go through the world by either distrusting everybody, or, which is a horrible mind, because it's paranoid. And it can prevent a lot of friendships that could happen, a lot of openness. Or you can just go through the world trusting people, and then from time to time, well, they cheat you, but you're still alive, it's okay. Also, if they kill you, they say, in Buddhism, they can't throw you into the lower state, so it's okay. At one point you have to die anyway. This is how pragmatic actually one thinks. So of course you try to say to protect your life as best as you can. Why? Because it's also not good for others to kill you. So you take the negative act of the other, that you want to protect the other from doing a negative act. You take that into your motivation of protecting yourself, which is totally different from just I don't want to be killed. Yeah. So this ego, I, me, I don't like to call it ego, because it's like, we also say my ego, whose ego? Not mine. Yeah. Whose? Who is this I? What is I? Who is this I? Yeah. So then when we start to get confused about this, then it starts to lighten up a little bit. And so these 4 attitudes of love, compassion, joy and equanimity, they're softening that up, they're stretching it a bit, so that more people or more beings have space. And we continue with these immeasurables until everybody really has space. But now again, we need to kind of define what is love and what is compassion, because there also we have a lot of wrong views. Like being kind for you means you do whatever somebody else wants you to do, that you do it, isn't it? They want to steal your possessions, then you open them the door and give them a bag so that it's easier to carry it out. Isn't it? Well, you'd be surprised. That is one of the practices of a bodhisattva. But this needs a lot of understanding why you would do that. You don't do this as a beginner. So as a beginner, you try to protect yourself as best as you can, but with the attitude or with the motivation to go further, then you don't need any protection anymore, okay? because if you yourself, you suffer all the time, then your love and compassion cannot manifest, okay? So it's your first duty is actually to look after yourself, but then afterwards you make the step out of that. That's just the first step, okay? So this is why love and compassion is always first for ourselves, until we relax and we're open and we become non-needy people. Yeah, we're so needy, yeah, so worried about so many things all the time. Okay? Do you understand this? How important that is, that you do look after yourself. So I'm just going through this again. It's like it's the definition of love, compassion, and wisdom, what it is not, and what it seems to be sometimes. It's a bit theoretical, but it's Thich Nhat Hanh. It's very simple. I chose this especially so that it doesn't become too complicated. And some people ask me, can I have it? Yes, yes. I will send it to Leora or to Shoshana. They have the list, whoever participated here, and you'll get it. And then use it. Then, it's like, instead of just being here and listening now, it's already, oh, I want to have it for the future. You're here now, you're getting it, okay? Not to worry about what will happen in the future. You might die tonight, then you don't need it anymore. But your kind of thought was, how can I get it, instead of just being here, being open and listen to what it says, okay? So each of these four has something that is the opposite, and something that looks like it, but it is not. And each of these four also has a bit of kind of a danger to become a little bit too much, to go overboard a little bit, to exaggerate the whole thing too much, okay? So, first one is love. So the definition of love, wanting others to be happy. Difficult to understand? No. When they're happy, you're happy. When you're happy, I am happy too. And then the heart is free. So sometimes you have to put some effort into making others happy. But again, do not see it as a duty. It needs to be developed, this kind of selfless being there for others. Mothers, fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers, one piece of food left, kids are there, who gets the food? Huh? Who gets the food? You? Because you're strong and you need to go to work? Who gets the food? The kids. Do you suffer because of that? Do you go to work and feel like the victim? I have to give up this last piece of food to my kids. Yeah? So these examples show us that we're capable of doing this. All we need to do is to stretch this attitude. Yeah? Wanting others to be happy. But again, then we have to see what is happiness. So here with this, of course, as a spiritual practitioner, you want to give them the happiness that is free from negative emotions, that kind of happiness. But also in order to develop the mind, you need good conditions. You need a more or less easy life, because otherwise there's no way you can work with your mind. You need outer conditions where you have groups and teachers and teachings and all this. You need that. So, or if somebody really thinks that they don't have enough of this and not have enough of that, then you think that you're giving them whatever they want. If it's computer, it's computers. If it's Coca-Cola, it's Coca-Cola. We're always very wise when it comes what we want to give to others. Yeah? Like nothing that is harming them, or they're already attached to it, shouldn't give it to